Hello my friends, and welcome to my Menace Expert Difficulty Guide. Hope you're all doing well. This is the new game from the developers of Battle Brothers, one of my all-time favorite games, and having played Menace a little bit in early access, I think it has the potential to be another all-timer. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the difficulty level of the game, so I wanted to take you through the early game and give you a quick start method that will get you set up for success, even on expert difficulty mode. Obviously, things may be subject to change during early access, but the basic principles should stay sound, and we'll go through squad selection, how to choose your initial leaders, and how to set up your squads, and do the first mission. And then I'll also take you through a mid-game mission, showing how I've set up my squads later on in the game, and take you through a mission there as well, so you can see how the strategy plays out as you go further through the game. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll of course be setting it to expert mode. I don't recommend turning on Iron Man during early access games. Also, I think you should cultivate the inner strength to just not reload when things go wrong, and you'll generally have a lot more fun in games and won't lose your saves to a bug. Let's get started. So I've skipped the cinematic and jumped right into the game, and the first thing that you do when you start a game of Menace is you pick 4 of these initial TCR Marine squad leaders to be your group that you're going to play the game with. Now, picking these 4 and not choosing the other 4 doesn't lock you out from the ones that you didn't choose. You'll be able to recruit them later in the game, and in the mid-game mission that I'm going to show you, you'll see that we have more than 4 of these initial starting squad leaders, as well as some that aren't available at the start of the game. There's a few considerations that you have to make when you're choosing your squad leaders. The first and most important is cost. You want a mix of supply costs for your squad leaders. When you go into a game of Menace, your supplies are pretty strictly limited by the mission, and you will only be able to bring as much stuff into a mission as you have supplies for. So you need to choose a mixture of cheaper and more expensive leaders to balance the effectiveness. The second thing that you really need to look at is this growth potential stat. Every time you do something in the game, you have a chance of gaining stats, and these attributes will increase as you play through the game. This will make you better at shooting, give you more action points to move, and basically everything in the game that you do, your squad leaders will get better at over time. That doesn't increase their supply cost, so having leaders with high growth potential can get you more bang for your buck later in the game. So we're going to need a mixture of strong early game leaders that can carry us through the first couple missions, and ones with good scaling potential. The other thing, of course, to look at is what perks they have available. These are ones that you can select as you level up, and this is their unique perk that they start with. Every squad leader has a different one. So you can see Darby here, her attacks will disable enemy special weapons, turning them off when you shoot an enemy special weapon team with Darby's squad. Lim, for example, is cheaper to promote, so you can get him leveled up a little bit faster without spending as many promotion points. The other thing is the mixture of perks that they can choose as they level up, and this is going to determine kind of what role your squad plays. Darby has access to a lot of stealth perks, Lim has access to a lot of tanking and counter-firing perks and things like that. So knowing what role they're going to fill in your team is important to selecting them. You can get away with choosing any mixture of these 4, though I would highly recommend having 3 infantry and 1 pilot as your starting squad members. So you're going to usually pick 3 of Darby, Lim, Pike, Carta, and Tech, and only 1 of Bog, Rewa, or Achilles. And the reason for that is that it's really expensive to field vehicles in the early game. You do want one because they're probably going to carry you for the first couple missions, as you'll see soon, but you won't be able to bring more than 1 easily. My recommended setup for squad leaders to start with is we're going to take Darby here. She's very expensive, but her starting stats are really good, so she's going to be really effective in the early game and remain absurdly effective later on, and you'll see that in the second mission we do in this video. And she has the capability to become almost invisible and just run around the map gunning down enemy infantry with no reprisal. So we're going to take Darby. She's going to be kind of the centerpiece to the strategy that we're building here. I also like taking Carta. Carta's very cheap. She's a 1-star squad leader. She has a default 9 growth potential, so she's going to gain stats really, really fast. So she's a little weak to start with, but is going to become very strong very quickly. She also has the mobile infantry perk, which will let her get in and out of vehicles really fast, so you can set her up as mobile infantry, or you can set her up as an infantry scout. Rounding that out, you can take any of the other 2-star infantry squad leaders. Lim, Pike, or Tech are all pretty good. Pike has the default strongest ability. I like to pick Lim here because his starting stats are just pretty good. And he's going to be able to be built into a role that nobody else in the game can play, with his counterattack and ability to sustain fire from enemies. So starting with Lim is good. Tech and Pike both have pretty good uses as well, but this is the one that I would usually pick. Finally, we're going to select our pilot. And because we've chosen 2 pretty expensive squad leaders here in Lim and Darby, we're going to take Riwa as our pilot. Achilles is too expensive and has no growth potential, basically. So while he's very good early, he's not going to scale that well. And Bog, his stats are just too bad for the early game. So I like the middle ground with Riwa, who will be able to help carry us through the first few missions, and then later on can become a deadly roaming killer in like a walker, or a great pilot for a mobile infantry squad. So to start with, we're taking Darby, Lim, Carta, and Riwa. Having picked our squads, we are going to jump right into the game, and here we are on the main map. As you can see, we have 3 available missions. This number is random, so you might only have 1 available mission, you might have more than 1. In this case, we have 3. And we do have both enemy types. We have both a pirate mission and an alien wildlife mission. These are the only 2 enemy types that can show up at the beginning of the game like this. In general, in the early game, for your first mission, I recommend fighting the aliens. They have a lot of melee units that are a lot less scary than the pirates' all ranged enemies. And there's a couple pirate units that we basically can't fight with the weapons that we have available. So I'm going to prefer to fight aliens where possible. You still can fight pirates if that's the only mission available, but given the choice, aliens are a little better. They also are going to give you a lot of good trade goods, which we can spend at the black market to upgrade our guns, which is going to be very important because the starting guns are trash. So let's look at our 2 alien missions here. We don't really get any information about them until we have start operation, so we just get to choose which one we're going to go with, which of these factions we prefer. Honestly, I have found that it really doesn't matter which factions you build relationship with at this point in the game. You'll get the early upgrades that they provide regardless, because you're going to be doing missions on every planet. So let's go ahead and pick one here. And you can see that we have a supply cap of 630, so we can bring up to 630 worth of units. We have 2 possible missions. We're going to have to pick a pathway. You'll be obviously very familiar with this type of thing if you've played Slay the Spire or anything like that, where we're going from node to node in these missions. But we do get to look at what all of them have ahead of time. So this one is a reclaim settlement mission, and as a reward, we gain more OCI points. So that's going to let us upgrade our ship for the rest of the mission. Or we can do rescue settlers, and as a reward for this one, we gain 5 trust with the local faction. Now, this one requires us to kill a bunch of enemies. This just requires us to capture an area. Since we are starting the game and we have garbage weapons and bad armor and everything, we're looking for a mission that just requires us to capture something. So we're going to take Reclaim Settlement here. Ideally, we don't want to have to kill as many enemies as possible. We would rather win this mission very cleanly without as much fighting as we can get away with avoiding. So, you can see here that we have our squads available, and we've got this map. This shows us what the terrain looks like, where the capture point is, and where the enemies are arrayed as well. You can see there's 7 total enemies on the field, 7 total enemy groups on the field to start with, and you can see roughly where they are. Later on, you can get intel upgrades that'll give you more information about this and give you more detailed info about those units. So, firstly, we're going to go ahead and add our vehicle. So we'll put in the light troop carrier. This is a starting vehicle that we've got, and we'll equip it with the heavy machine gun. We don't have any heavy weapons or vehicle mods, so that's it. So Riwa is coming on the mission here with our light troop carrier. We're then also going to add some squaddies. So you can see this number up here is +4. That indicates that we have our squad leader and 4 other troops, which are basically hit points, but they also do damage. And you can rename them and stuff if you get attached to them. So we want to, of course, increase the number of squaddies so that our squads are more effective. It costs points to do so based on their equipment, which in this case is just the basic carbine and fatigues. The carbines are awful, and we want to replace those as soon as possible. I'm going to keep emphasizing that. Darby has our best stats, so we're going to give her the full 8 squaddies, and we'll equip her with one of these magazine pouch accessories to give her extra ammo. She's going to be probably our main killing power. Her and Riwa in the early game are going to do most of the damage that we're doing. We'll go ahead and put Karda behind Riwa here because we want her to ride in the truck. With only 85 AP, she's going to have a hard time moving around, so we're going to have her mount up. And then we'll give Lim some more squaddies as well, and we can go up to 629 here if we give him 6 and Karda 4, and then we've got our infantry accessory pouches here, so this is going to basically use our full supply cap. So Karda is going to mostly be along to finish off weak enemies and do a little bit of chip damage. We've got Lim to take on medium enemies, and Darby and Riwa are going to do most of our damage. Looking at this map, I'm going to try to pick off these 2 isolated enemies and then just camp in the bottom corner until we capture. We'll try to avoid fighting these 5 as much as we can, because it is too dangerous to get into a fight with all of the aliens. Also notice that it is daytime here. That's good for us. The aliens can see in the dark, so we don't want to fight them at night if possible. All right, so I'm going to just tighten my group up over here, and we'll come in from the corner, and let's start the mission. So as we load into the mission, you can see that we have sort of vision of the immediate area surrounding us. We know that there are 2 aliens here, and the others are in kind of an arc around the other side of the objective, so we need to be aware of their position. But they will move around, so of course they can catch up to us. The first thing that I'm going to do is just move up and get some vision. And the very important thing in the early game, of course, is that just like if you've played XCOM, for example, the early game is really hard. Our units are really bad, so this first mission is the hardest one. We need to make sure that we don't get shot at all, because our guys are going to fold like paper, even if they're in cover. So we're going to move up and try to stay completely invisible to enemies. The way to do that is using this eyeball icon, of the closed eye icon, over the head of our troops, over the symbol here. That indicates that they cannot currently be seen. Oh, whoops, I messed up there. It doesn't matter. I meant to put Karda in the truck before moving the truck, but we'll just do that next turn. That indicates that they can't be seen by the enemy. And even if the enemy is out of your vision, the sight indicator will go away. Let's do the timing right this time. So you can use that to determine sort of where enemies are positioned. So we'll have Karda move up and then turn. You alternate turns with the enemies, so we activate 1 unit, then they activate 1 unit. And that means that we're only going to get, if an enemy comes into view of us, we're only going to get 1 turn with 1 unit to react to them. These are alien warriors, so they can now see our unit. I could back up to here, because I know that I would be out of vision of them. But this is a melee enemy. We know there can only be 1 other enemy unit around here. So I could also take a pot shot. I think we are going to do that. There's a chance that a ranged enemy pops out and does damage to Lim here, but this is going to aggro these guys and hopefully isolate them from the other aliens. Wow, they just stood motionless while getting fired at. That's kind of funny. So this is going to hopefully isolate them away from the other enemy units and let us take this one down without any risk to ourselves. So we're going to move Darby up and do the same thing. I'm saving my move with Riwa because she has the biggest gun. So, of course, we're going to save her in case something pops out that we need to deal with right away, like these wasps. These alien dragonflies are ranged, so we need to make sure that we're taking them down. So we're going to move Rua up to here. We know that the closest enemy unit can to these guys can be like here at best, because they were all arrayed on the far side of the objective. So we can move up reasonably aggressively here. We're going to move up, and then we'll use our mounted machine gun here to deal some damage to those guys, and we took them out right away. Okay, so there's a second enemy unit here, but that's also a melee unit. This one will not be able to get in range. The snow makes movement a little bit harder, so it won't be able to get in range for a melee attack on either of these. So I think we should be able to get away with just taking shots. So even though we're not in cover, that doesn't matter. We're not going to get attacked by anything. We're going to have Darby deploy here. That makes her weapons more accurate. And then she's going to shoot the low health alien warrior. And then we'll do that again. As you can see, ammo can be a concern in the early game because our weapons are so bad that it can be somewhat difficult for us to actually land damage. Now, because the alien moved up to us, we can actually have Rua run them over. But first, we're going to go ahead and use Lim and do exactly the same move, and we'll shoot the other alien this time because we're going to use the tank to just run those guys over, and obviously we want to do that to save ammo. Nice shooting by Lim there, actually going straight through their armor. So we've got these guys both to about half. And then I want to save ammo here, so we're going to use a run-over attack. Only costs 45 AP, so we can do 2 of them, and we can also use it again to back up. Because we don't want to be too far forwards. And now we've got these guys fleeing. That means that they won't get a turn on their next turn. We have 10 AP, so I could rotate the facing of the tank, but I don't want to. We'll end turn here. And then Carta is going to pop out the back and take a shot also at the alien that's still not fleeing, because of course we want to take down the one that could possibly act. End turn on her squad as well. So this alien, you can see it's retreating and it's grayed out here. That means that it's not going to take an active turn. This one, on the other hand, will, and it's very close to our units. With 77 health, Darby probably could take it down. But just to be safe, what we're going to do is use one run-over attack on it. This is always going to hit, and it should do decent damage here. Oh, no, I guess we're not in position to do that. Okay. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to burn some ammo. Usually you can use this diagonally. I'm actually not sure why we can't. I think just because the other enemy is right there as well. So we're going to have to use our big truck gun in order to ensure that we damage this enough that it doesn't get to take a turn. So we're going to fire the weapon from our tank here. Let's go ahead and end turn, and then this thing will back off. We can take shots at it still. I believe this is the furthest tile it could get to. So the game will show a question mark when an enemy is on a tile. On the last tile that you saw an enemy that has passed outside of vision. So we're going to go ahead and have Carta just shoot at that tile. Looks like it's not there, so let's just get in the truck with the rest of her move. We'd have heard some noise or seen some blood splatters or something if the unit was still in that tile. So let's go ahead and end turn, and you can see that our 2 infantry units are no longer visible to any enemies because they have the eyeball icon. We'll have to stand Darby up. It takes 20 AP to stand back up. Then we'll move forwards one more tile and try to get vision. Okay, it was still in that tile. I guess Carta's shooting was just bad. And we'll keep chipping away at it. We do want to take it down if possible because it drops trade goods. And we, of course, want to be able to upgrade our weapons. And then we'll move up to here, saving 40 AP so that we can take a shot. And Lim will keep chipping away at this alien. We're just going to go ahead and feed this kill to Darby here just to make sure that somebody gets it. And now our whole squad is invisible to the enemies. Now we're going to move up, and we'll do this very carefully, one tile at a time, so that if an enemy pops into vision or starts being able to see our unit, we can back off that one tile again and pass back out of vision. So we'll just end turn here. You can see here, this is exactly why, because an enemy has now appeared. I definitely want to take these guys down because they can currently see Darby's squad. So we could have Rua move up to here. Does that get her in range? It does, for the tank cannon. I could also have Lim take shots. He would have to move and then would get 2 shots. And that's probably not enough to take out the Dragonfly. So again, we're going to use ammo on our tank, which is a very valuable resource, but we need to make sure that we do something to take down this Dragonfly. And actually, unfortunately, it's so inaccurate at this range that we got a little unlucky on our first barrage that we didn't quite take it down. But that's still okay. We'll then have Lim move up and take the shots as well. Try to finish off this unit. You can often do better if you deploy before shooting, but I really want to kill this unit before it gets to act. Unfortunately, we've gotten a little unlucky on the shooting there. I think that given the accuracies, we should have been able to kill it, but that didn't happen this time. We'll pop Carta out, and she's not in range, so just back in the truck for her for now. Here, I'm going to have Darby deploy. She has the most ammo and the most accuracy. With medium accuracy, we should be able to easily take down that Dragonfly. And that's why you often want to use a deploy. So I think I played last turn pretty badly, honestly. Obviously, you can learn from my mistakes as well as my teachings. And then we'll undeploy here so she can move on her next turn, but not move forwards because an enemy might come into vision of us. We'll have Rua move up here. And you can see that we still have the eyeball, the closed eyeball icon on our truck. So that means no enemies are nearby. Something to be aware of, though, it takes more AP to move backwards than forwards on a vehicle. So you need to make sure you're saving enough that you can still move back one tile. So if I moved forward here, we wouldn't have the 24 that we need to move backwards. That's why we're going to stop moving here. Okay, so I don't know how they got sight of us there, actually. I guess it must have stepped out into the shadows. That was a little odd. I'm not entirely sure what happened. We'll move to here, and then we'll have Carta deploy at this area. She's still invisible, so there's an enemy, I think, in this tile that can see our tank. So again, we're going to move up here. Given that there's the blaster bug there that can see us, we're just going to have Rua back up. I really don't want to let that take more shots. It's fairly inaccurate at long range, but if it does get damage on us, that's pretty bad. Also, note that there's these turn timers. You can try to complete the mission within 10 or 14 rounds. Ignore those completely in these early missions. So much more important to kill a lot of enemies and do a lot of damage. Okay, so this thing is for some reason getting vision of my units that I don't think it should have. I think that might just be an early access bug. The blaster bug here. Let's go ahead and take some shots, and we'll try to put some damage on it. Couple more enemy units coming out of the side here, but those are, of course, melee enemies, so we're not as concerned about them. I really want to kill the blaster bug. We would have to move up to here to take shots at it. So we will do that. That's going to keep my truck trapped a little bit. So we won't be able to take shots with the truck. Actually, I can move one more tile forwards. We're going to get kind of in more of a knockdown fight, which is what I usually want to avoid at this stage in the game. But because the bug got vision of us, even though we were hidden, it looks like we kind of don't have a choice about that. Good accuracy here, so I don't need to crouch. So I'm just going to take the shots. Start chipping away at these young alien warriors as well. And I also want to move you up to where you'll be able to shoot the blaster bug next turn. Okay, so we want to take out the blaster bug. The best way to do that, I could have Lim shoot it, while crouched, so that would be pretty good accuracy. I don't think his damage is high enough. He only has 6 squaddies. We could have Rua move up to here and take... No, she would have to move 2 tiles. And so she won't be able to get a good chain gun shot. I could move to here and take these shots with Darby, who would be in range. The challenge with doing that is that then the alien warriors, I think, might be able to get in range for a melee attack. I forget what their exact movement is in snow. Oh, wait, so we're 1 tile away, so I think we can go to here, spend 24, and we should be in range of the blaster bug without being in range of the alien warriors. So we'll take these shots. These are going to be pretty inaccurate, so it's going to get 1 more shot at us this coming turn, but we want to try to chip away at it. And the reason for this is it's invisible to the player, but anytime you shoot at an enemy, it builds up, invisible to the player on the aliens. You can see it on the pirates. But anytime a unit takes fire, you can see this yellow bar here that says unaffected on the side, or it's right over the health bar. That's this suppression beater. And that, the more suppression you put on a unit, the worse it is at shooting, the fewer AP it has, and so on. Shooting at the aliens also builds up the suppression. You just can't see it. It's not because they're aliens, so you don't know how scared they are. So it's still worth taking these shots, even if you're not going to kill the alien. So I'm going to go ahead and crouch, and I will take shots into the alien warriors just to make sure that they don't get a good turn. Took them out of the fight, so we'll shoot the blaster bug. These are the most dangerous alien enemies because they're fairly heavily armored for this stage in the game. Also, this one has ESP. Got some alien spiderlings coming up, but they don't have enough AP to take a move, to take an attack after they moved in. So we'll move our tank up. You can shoot over your own unit's heads. You just have to be a little bit careful about it. The accuracy on this is low, so we might get some suppression, but shouldn't take any damage on our squad. If our squad was on the other side of the aliens, though, you can definitely friendly fire them, so you need to be pretty careful about doing that. This enemy is retreating now, so we're just going to turn our tank, because we're probably going to want to move this way. I'm not going to use another point of ammunition on shooting at the blaster bug that can't currently move. Alright, so the alien stinger, I probably do need to use ammo on that, because this is a shooting enemy, and it can take down my units. This thing is retreating, so it's not going to get a turn. So we're going to use the big gun to put some damage on the alien stingers. And we got them fleeing. Once again, since the enemy is fleeing here, we're going to conserve ammo on our tank. I will then move 1 tile forwards here. And we'll shoot at the blaster bug twice. On target. We want to kill this thing. Even though it's currently retreating, we still want to kill it because retreating enemies will back off, rally, and then come back. Fleeing enemies will run away off the battlefield entirely. So we want to kill it to make sure it doesn't come back to fight us. And the other thing is that we get loot from killing it. So now we're going to move Carta up to here. I could move her all the way on to the objective. Actually, I should have moved Lim first. That was a mistake. I should have moved Lim to get better vision. So now we'll just move Carta to here. And she can kind of work around the outside. And then Lim can move on to the objective because he'll still have enough AP to back off if something spooky happens. Move over to here. Don't see any enemies, and then we'll go ahead and deploy. And you can see that the objective, it's a little hard to see against the snow, but there's this blue line here that shows that we're in the objective, and you can see the green thing has started ticking up. We're on round 10. We're not going to complete the objective within 10 rounds. That's fine. Let's move Darby forwards here as well. Catching a corner. And I don't want to move any further, so we'll just go ahead and deploy get on the objective here. Alright, here's another blaster bug, so I'm definitely concerned about that thing. We'll have Lim take shots because he's already deployed and in position to shoot at it. Can chip away at its armor a little bit here. And with good accuracy from a deployed position, we can start taking this down before it gets an attack. And turn, because I don't want to undeploy him. We'll have Carda move up, deploy, and take a shot. I kind of, because I've been playing a higher level save file, where my units are a little better, I forgot just how bad the early troops are, so I was relying on them to do some stuff that they were not quite good enough to do. And, you know, even though we've been playing this one cautiously, when you play, you might want to deploy more before taking shots than I have been doing here. Definitely a weakness in how I've been approaching this.
Orders.
So Darby should be able to take this down. She has excellent accuracy, so she can knock it out before it gets to take a turn. And with 8 squaddies, she should have the damage, even with the crappy gun, to take the thing down. We've also got this objective of destroying more than 70% of all enemy forces. We're going to move Carda to, I guess, to here. Because I want her behind the rest of my squads, and I want to move the tank up to this area, and otherwise we'd be blocking our tank access. And we'll just camp in the corner of this mission, of the mission area here. Passing the turn. If aliens come into our vision, we'll take them down. But otherwise, we will just be ending turn. And I'm going to use Carda first. Because you alternate with the aliens when there's nothing on the field, you should usually move your weakest unit first, so that you have your stronger units to react to what they're doing. Okay, so we did get a blaster bug. I don't want to let it take a shot, so I'm going to back off here. And I guess I'll go into deploy mode, so if it does come after us, we can get it. We can actually take shots at it with Darby here, even though we can't see it. We know that it at least was in that tile, so we can do some damage to it. That will reveal the location of this squad briefly, but that's okay.
What?
Lim, are you in range to do the same thing? You're not, so we'll have you pass the turn, and Rua will pass the turn as well. And now we have accomplished the mission. We could leave. We could also hunt down some more bugs. So let's just take this shot, see if this thing happens to still be in this tile. Maybe we get one more kill. Sounds like there is an audio cue for something in that tile. But I'm not going to risk it taking a shot and doing important damage, killing a squaddie or something. So maybe we killed it, maybe we didn't. Either way, we're very happy to have gotten this mission with no incoming damage at all. So let's hit leave mission here. We actually passed our timing objective as well, which is nice. And we got enough stuff that we can buy at least one good gun, which is going to be really important. You can see that a couple of our squad members have gotten some bonuses here. And you can see the stats. Darby killed 4 things with a bunch of damage to everything. Obviously, the stats are about what you would expect, given who has been doing all of the things. We now get to choose the next 2 missions. I'm not going to show you another mission, but I will show you the black market. So our very first job is to find some decent guns and make sure that our units are equipped. The first thing that we're going to do is get one of these crowbars. This is going to be your mainstay battle rifle for the early game. Darby's going to use it until you get the tier 3 weapons. And you should definitely have at least 60 in order to buy one of these. If you happened to get more, you should probably buy 2 crowbars. The other rifles are also good. Make sure that you go with the range 8 rifles for the early game. The crowbar with range 9 is even better. But those are the weapons that you're looking for, which should almost always be available in the early game. And then you'll be able to equip Darby's squad with these, making her more powerful. Alright, so that's mission 1. So let's take a look at a mission from the mid-game once we've advanced our squad a little bit. Alright, so let me show you what it looks like to do a mission in the mid-game with this setup. Obviously, at this point in the game, your squads, your squad leaders, and the equipment you have available might vary slightly, but this should give you a really good grounding for how you're going to play out the run. I've just pulled up my current save file, so we're midway through an operation here, and we're going to do the last mission, which is the one I wanted to show you because it's usually the hardest. In this case, we're trying to evacuate our units, and we want to evacuate at least 3 units, which means we need to bring 3 or more to the battlefield. Of course, we're planning to do that anyways. And we're going to take out the pirate heavy defenses on our way. So let's go ahead and start. And you can see here that because I have 3 intelligence set up on my ship, we get good information about where the pirate units are at the beginning of this game. So you can see that we've got the EMP turret, we've got 1 HMG turret on either side, and we only need to kill 1 of them. And you can also see from the map that there's only 2 entrances. We could knock a hole in the wall, or we could walk in the doors. I'm probably just going to plan to go in the doors. We also get a good sense of where all of the enemy units are and what they are. So you have a bunch of enemy infantry mostly surrounding this area. Over here, there's a pirate vehicle, so I think we're going to come in on the right because it keeps us a little further away from the vehicles, gives us a little more opportunity to react to what those are doing. Let me take you through the squads that we're bringing. I've set these up before the video starts. So we've got Darby, who of course we started with, and she's set up as an infantry murdering stealth machine. So we're using camouflage kit and Jaeger fatigues for +4 concealment, as well as having covert ops for 2 more concealment. So that gives us a base of 6 concealment, which means that enemies need to be basically right next to you in order to catch a glimpse. Alongside this silenced rifle, we can continuously gun down enemy infantry without them ever being able to react. In addition to that, I've got Ambush for extra damage when we're concealed, which we always will be. Vanguard, because we definitely want to deploy her near the enemies and start mowing things down right away. And Commando, because we're always going to be away from our allies, especially at the start. So this is our setup. She's very expensive at 400 supplies, but you'll see that this is very much worth it. On top of that, we've got Lim, also with a very expensive setup, but he's in the boarding commando jet suit with a pirate, with an assault rifle. We've also got Buff to make sure that you can move in the jet suit, Counterstrike so we can shoot back if we get attacked, and Berserk so that we can continuously kill things. Again, a pretty expensive unit, but worth its weight in gold because we can usually kill 3 enemy infantry units per turn. I've also brought an EMP rifle to help us deal with vehicles. Next up, I am going to show you Pike. This is a pretty cheap setup, 145 supplies for a full 8 squaddies. We've got a crowbar, just the basic rifle, and we're mostly using Pike for his ability here to spend 60 action points to give an ally 40 action points. It's super efficient, but with 8 squaddies in fatigues, he's also a reasonable fire support unit, especially because he comes with firing line, giving him 3 shots a turn. And we also are taking This Is My Rifle, so we get a very cheap setup on this squad. We're bringing Bog as well. Obviously, we started with Riwa, but we're taking Bog here because I wanted to bring the heavier tank, and his ability, Recycled Parts, makes it cheaper at the cost of HP. That doesn't matter because it's your armor that matters more than your maximum health for vehicles. He also comes with a laser lance and the light machine gun and a rocket. This is going to be our main piece for taking out enemy vehicles alongside Carta, who is set up as mobile infantry and is going to be riding in the tank with Bog, and also has an RPG. She's going to jump out and RPG things down. I've thrown in Rend ammo to try to take out a few more enemy armor pieces, but this is mostly she's going to be popping out of the tank and using the RPG to knock things down. Actually, looks like I have a little spare supply, so we can get 1 more squaddie in there, which we might as well do. And that's the full setup. Let me then deploy. So we're going to put Darby all the way in front here. She's going to scout and gun down the enemy infantry. She's perfectly safe here because we're well outside the zone where they can actually see us. I'm going to look for a straight line and put Bog here with Carta right behind. I don't believe, I haven't figured out if there's a way to start the infantry deployed in a vehicle. If you try to drag it on, it just swaps their sides. I think that's something they should definitely add in the early access, because spending your first turn doing that feels kind of weird. And then, of course, we've got Pike and Lim just kind of bringing up the rear. So let's jump right into it. All right, so we are jumping right in for the mission here. And of course, the first thing that we're going to do is go look at what Darby can see. She's out in front, she's our main scout, so we get pretty good vision of where the pirate forces are and what units they have available. You can also see the heavy machine gun turret here and the EMP turret here. These, of course, are 2 targets for our mission objective, so we want to make sure to take those down. Taking a look at the units around here, we've got some scavenger teams. We're not that worried about those. The chain gun team is dangerous if we let them get sight of our infantry, which we don't intend to. Veteran scavengers here, and this EMP team is actually pretty spooky for us, not because of the EMP, but because you can see down there in the bottom right, these guys have a motion scanner, and that can let them mark our units even through Darby's concealment, so we need to make sure that we take these guys down. These pirate boarding commandos are also pretty risky. They have the counterattack ability, so they'll shoot back at the first unit that attacks them each turn if you're within range of them. They will shoot back even though they can't see Darby through her concealment, so you need to be aware of that and not attack from within the boarding commando's range. So we're going to have Darby take the first turn here, and we're going to use our Neuropentin. This will give us concealment and more detection, so you can see we got a little bit more vision. Now, let me look at the accuracy rating. Okay, we can easily take down this EMP squad even through their cover. Darby's stats are incredible, so that's very easy to do. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. And that takes the motion detector off the field. And then I'm probably just going to keep picking off these infantry squads. We'll grab the ones that are closest to us. The veteran scavengers, it might take 2 shots to take down because they have armor, so let's just take out this scavenger team here. I can also use my rocket pod run. This is an off-map ability from the ship, and I usually like to just throw these out. You can try to get lots of value off of them, but it's kind of random because they take multiple turns before they go off, so you need to predict where the pirates are going to go. I'm going to drop it back here and just kind of hope that it hits something. I'm also going to have Darby back up a tile, even though we have good concealment. There's a chance that the pirates move forwards, and if they get adjacent to her, they'll get vision, and then a different one can start shooting. So we definitely don't want to put her at any risk. She has no armor on the squad or anything, so if she does get shot, we're going to lose units really fast. All right, that's our first turn. 2 infantry down. Pirates took a move somewhere off the map, so let's just load Carta into the truck here. Pass the turn. And you can see that these guys are kind of backing off to the right. So the enemy units will tend to congregate in certain areas of the map. For whatever reason, they just decide on a place that they're all going to set up. So it looks like they're probably going to back off to somewhere on the right over here, this map. We're just going to move our infantry up. They're still well out of range of being seen by the enemies at this point, though we need to be aware of the vision range on the machine gun turret later on. Same with our truck. We can drive this forwards, I think, without any risk of being spotted by enemies. The other thing that we have to be aware of is that, as you saw, there was another entrance over here, so the pirates can probably start sending units from this side around to our flank. So we may be approached on the left by some dangerous enemies at some point. Alright, so the boarding commandos use their jetpack here. There's no infantry in range right now. We could take out this chain gun team. So let's have Darby just move back. Our very cautious move of moving her backwards 1 tile turns out not to have been super necessary, but better safe than sorry. Again, if we got shot, we would lose this squad instantly, so we're relying on her extremely high concealment and invisibility. So we got that infantry squad kill. We're out of range here, and we don't have enough movement to get in range and still shoot. I could just move her forwards and start getting a little more vision. I could also take shots at the back of this HMG truck, but with small arms fire, that's going to be hard to take down. So let's step forwards and just get a little more vision of where the enemy forces are situated. The artillery barrage goes off here. All right, well, we got some pretty big explosions, but it's not clear to me that there were any enemies in that area. Though our Marines seemed very happy about it, so I guess it was good for morale. We'll just move Pike up to here, and we're staying outside of range of the machine gun turret's vision. Truck is driving off to the left. That's a little worrying because it could flank us potentially. Let's have Bog go to here. We're going to kind of approach from the right with our vehicle so that we can use our laser or our rocket to take down the machine gun turret. And we'll have Carta stay in the vehicle. I guess she can hop out. Carta has scout, so we do get a little more vision radius by having her run around, and she can just jump back into the truck easily. And end her turn, and then Lim is gonna move up to the left here. I want to get them, this squad, where they can start taking on enemy infantry. Alright, that's our turn, so let's watch what the pirates do. The most important thing is what these boarding commandos do, and you can see that they went over here, which is fine for us. Alright, so we've got Darby, who can start taking shots at the boarding commandos. We don't have great armor piercing on these shots, so it'll take a couple rounds of shooting to take them down, but that's fine. We could also take out this EMP turret. We do have our EMP rifle here. We need to be a little careful of using this because it's not silenced, unlike our assault rifles. So it will reveal this unit's location when we fire the EMP gun. I think we can just take out the turret, though. It's pretty lightly armored, so let's move 2 tiles over to here, and then we can use our sustained fire ability on it. And there's still the HMG truck over here. Sustained fire is nice because it only uses 1 use of your weapon, and basically you fire 2 for the price of 1. Ammo can be a concern for Darby's squad because she's so powerful that you will end up using her a lot to take down enemy infantry. So we did some good chip damage to the turret. 1 more round of fire will take it out. Alright, boarding commandos continuing to just kind of jetpack randomly around.
Sir.
So if I move Pike up to here, we should get vision of the turret. Pike is still concealed. So we'll just have his squad go up to here to get us vision, and then we'll end turn. And then our laser is a few tiles off of being in range, so let's scoot up. We're going to move 1 tile at a time here because you can see if I move to here, actually it didn't show up, but you can look at the top of this icon here, the closed eye icon. That tells you whether your unit is still concealed. So if we move 1 tile at a time, it will show us that the enemy now has vision of where our truck is, and then we can back off, and you can see we're no longer in vision radius of the enemy. Carta won't be in range, but let's pop out of the truck anyways, just to use her scout ability. And that's fine. We can just get back in. Basically just passing the turn here because I want to make sure that we're continuing to move forward safely and not expose ourselves to any enemy fire ever. This, of course, will be very familiar to you if you've played high difficulty levels of XCOM. So you can see here we've moved into vision of the enemy. I think that's just this EMP turret that has vision. So let's back off, and we should again be concealed. HMG truck continuing to maybe flank us on the left, so we do need to be concerned about that. Alright, so I'm going to start by having Darby just finish taking out the EMP turret, I think. Since it's providing so much vision of the area. Oh, I haven't seen that effect before, the EMP discharge. That's really cool, actually. And then we can step forwards. We don't need to pop our second charge of our drugs, because no enemies are going to get close enough to us to potentially see us, so we can just pass the turn. One thing that you'll notice here is that the machine gun turret acted, so you alternate actions with the enemies, of course. So the machine gun turret took its turn and now can no longer shoot back at us, so we could move units in to take it down. I'm going to move our truck up 2 tiles here, and then we'll use our laser to shoot the HMG turret. Didn't quite take it out, but we've gotten it pretty damaged. It's also on fire, so it should burn out pretty quickly. I could use the taking command ability to give extra AP to our truck and finish off the turret. Let's move Lim up first. Trying to get control of this left flank area. And again, we're doing this slowly. Even though we have the jump pack ability, we don't want to use it right away because we can put ourselves in danger. I'm also not going to move this last tile. There's a potential chance that there's something that can see to that tile. We want to save our AP so that we can move backwards if necessary. Alright, so these guys are moving forward since they now know where the truck is, and they can take a couple shots at the truck. They have range out to here, so what we're going to do is we're going to have Pike go into deployment mode and start shooting at the boarding commandos. And although their Pike isn't the ideal choice for taking these guys out through cover, he's still pretty good at it. And just chipping away at their armor with our next 2 squads, we'll get suppression and deal some decent damage to them, and then we'll pass a turn. They do now know where Pike is, but that's okay. We'll have Carda pop out, and I think this is going to be a better angle to shoot from, so we'll jump to here. We'll go ahead and take this shot with her assault rifle setup. And you can see we're starting to chip away at their health. The question is, do I need to use the RPG on the machine gun turret? It does know where Pike is. So we might have to use some method to kill this machine gun turret before its next turn. Otherwise, it's going to be able to take shots at us. But let's go ahead and just take some more shots at the boarding commandos. If we get them to pin down, they don't get a turn next turn, so we want to make sure that that happens. They also lose vision, so you can see that now our units here are concealed because these guys no longer have vision of the area around them. All right, a few more infantry units coming up. Oh, that was fast. I don't know why they zipped around so quickly there. That was funny. All right, so what has vision of Lim? I think it's this flamethrower team. That's okay. I don't mind if the machine gun turret shoots at our tank again. So let's go ahead and take the flamethrower team down with Darby. This is guaranteed to work, so we'll just make sure that we're stopping the enemies from getting a turn and removing vision of our units here. Oh, actually, I guess it was the boarding commandos that had vision. I could shoot the boarding commandos here. I don't think it's going to do enough damage to be worth doing. So we'll move Darby up to here and keep taking down the enemy infantry before they get a chance to shoot. If the pirates have a rocket of some kind, they might be able to do some damage to Lim here. If they have a rocket truck shooting from off map, because they do know where Lim is. So that's something that we maybe messed up a little bit, leaving these guys with vision of our unit. But I think we're okay. Alright, so they didn't take an off-map shot at us. Let's use our laser to take down the turret before it takes a turn. I don't want this thing shooting. And I don't mind overheating the laser. There's no other vehicles that we need to shoot at, so that's fine. We'll take that out. And then I am going to move this truck up 2 tiles. These scavengers don't have anything that can actually hurt the tank, so we're fine to move it forwards, even though they now have vision of it. They're going to probably take some pot shots that it's heavy armor, but that just doesn't matter at all. Oh, they didn't even do that. So they moved up to there. Pike is still in deployment mode, so we can start taking some shots at these guys again. I could again pass some AP to the rest of my squad, but what I really want to do is just make sure that he's taking some combat actions when those are available, because you build stats, and he has new tricks and everything. You build stats just by taking actions, and we want to make sure that he's continuing to level up and progress. Shoot, commandos again here. Almost took them down, actually, and because he has his, the firing line ability, he can take 3 shots in a turn, so we can finish off the commandos here. Then we'll have Carta take down the scavengers. Oh, bad shooting. Alright, well, a couple commandos are still alive. That's okay. Got some scavengers here. Let's have Carta hop out of the vehicle, and nothing else that we really need to shoot at, so we'll shoot at the guys who have high health. I'm looking for the accuracy here. Just get a little bit of suppression on them. I expected this to do more damage, but shooting through cover with these assault rifles is not great. But we got them to suppressed, which is fine. We'll hop Carta back into the truck, and then we'll have Lim come over. Alright, so there's a laser truck. That's something that we do need to be very cognizant of, because that can do a ton of damage to our tank. Basically, nothing else here currently has armaments that threaten us, but the laser tank definitely does. I'm going to have Lim use a rocket jump to get over to here, and then we can start taking down these infantry. I'm also almost in range of EMPing the tank, but let's go ahead and shoot down some of these scavengers. We'll take out these ones that we have a flanking shot on. Unfortunately, I need to get Lim very slightly stronger, because with 2 more action points, we could rocket jump and then shoot an enemy and then get berserk and get another shot. As is, we're 2 action points short of that, but that's why we need to take a bunch of actions. And then we'll have them move up. Pirates are doing something here. Looks like they're moving a bunch of infantry over from the left, which we don't care about at all. Alright, so I don't want the laser truck acting, which is why we moved Lim up to here. We're going to go ahead and take an EMP shot at that. And I could go into deploy mode first, just to make the EMP more accurate, but with 2 shots here with excellent accuracy, we should definitely hit one of them. So now we've EMP'd the truck, it can't act. I will shoot these boarding commandos, because that will trigger our berserk. Even though they did get a counterattack, it did nothing, because they died immediately. And then with our berserk AP, we can finish off this enemy infantry squad, or at least do enough damage to make sure that they can't do anything in the rest of the fight. We'll move Lim forwards here. Alright, so there's the rocket I was talking about. Fortunately, this is an armored unit, so even the direct rocket hit didn't kill anybody. Actually, I was expecting that to do more damage, but that is the risk of leaving enemies who can see our units at all alive, is there may be off-map assets or long-ranged units like that rocket truck that we have to be aware of. Let's move our tank forwards to, I guess, just to here. And then we'll use our chain gun. That finishes suppressing them, but doesn't do anything else in terms of damage. And we'll have Pike get up and move forwards. The shots from here are probably not going to be that effective. And I do want to make sure that he's keeping up with the rest of the squad, so we'll have him just move forwards here. Probably I should have had Carta move first so she could kill this unit and get rid of any enemy vision in the area. Rather than move Pike. So we'll have her pop out. Although her shots may not be super reliable against these scavengers because they're in cover. Alright, we did get them. I'm not in range to rocket this laser truck, but we'll pop back in. I kind of forgot about the EMP laser truck. That's what has vision of all of our guys. So that was very sloppy just to forget that that unit existed. We'll move forwards to here, and this still leaves us with 80 AP to take 2 shots. Okay, here's another scanner unit. So we're going to take those guys down before they use their motion scanner. I'm also going to use my... And here's the rocket truck that took a shot. We don't have to take this out right away. The rocket truck can only fire every second turn, so it can't shoot next turn. It has to reload first. I'm using the drugs here because we're now kind of surrounded by enemy units. And then we'll take down the motion scanner team before they can do their thing. Take down the flamethrower team before they get a turn. And you can see why, even though we paid a premium to have Darby on the field, she's just so powerful. And why I highly recommend that you take her early and build her up. Okay, so the enemies have vision because of this tank. So let's just use our rocket. This pretty much always hits. Our laser still has some heat that it needs to remove, and then this should just take down the pirate laser tank right away before it gets to act, and clean up the vision that enemies have on any of our units. So we, again, deny them any meaningful turns. I didn't realize there was still an infantry unit over here to the right, so that's something that we do need to be aware of. What does our shot look like from this side? Not great, honestly. So let's use a jump. And we'll just pop over next to them. And then we can take them down. And we'll use our Berserk to run back the other direction here. Always want to make sure there are no enemy units behind you, so you need to clean up those flankers. 2 units here that still have turns, so we'll just assassinate them with Darby. Rocket truck is actually fleeing now and hasn't yet reloaded, though of course we can probably get some of our anti-tank weaponry in range of it as well. Move Darby forwards here. We've got our drugs, our neuropentin online, so she's pretty much invisible to enemies. They have to get literally adjacent to her to see her for most of the pirate units. Okay, so here this thing reloaded, and it's going to move over to here. Does that actually put it in range of Carta's rocket? No. There's no way we can get to it. I guess we can move through this shipping container. It's kind of neat that you can move through those. I didn't realize that was pathable. So I could have her run up to here and then fire a rocket. She wouldn't be able to make it back into the truck this turn. And would that even work? I don't think that's worth the risk. Leaving her out of the truck just feels pretty bad, and we can always move Bog up to take a laser shot at it next turn, which should take it down pretty easily. Oh, actually, what I could do is I could target her with some extra AP from Pike. You can use this before your unit acts as well, so we'll give her extra AP. Oh, is there no way to do that? All right, well, we'll have to do that the other way around. Because I can't target her while she's in the truck. They need to fix that so you can target on the unit portrait. Early access woes, of course. So we're going to have her move up to here to get in range of the rocket. And that'll put her in range. And then we can have Pike give her an extra 40 AP to take the rocket shot. There is a chain gun truck over here, but that's not anywhere near in range if we move forwards. A couple infantry units moving around, and then we'll take the rocket shot to take down this rocket truck before it gets to act. Good damage on fire, and it's fleeing as well. Some boarding commandos coming in, so some more heavily armored pirates. Currently, they have no vision of anything that we're doing. But let's make sure that we're taking down the enemy infantry that might get vision of what we're doing. So we're going to take out these guys. Also, of course, this is going to cause the enemies to start fleeing. I could take shots at this boarding commando unit, but let's just take these guys down as well. Didn't actually take them out thanks to their high armor, but we might as well have. They're too damaged to be a threat anymore. They're fleeing and pinned down. And then we'll just step over to here. Boarding commandos jetting forwards, so they do now have vision of Pike. I need to be careful of that, because the laser truck, if it gets vision of my truck, could take it down. So that's just something that we have to be careful of. We're going to back Pike up one, I think. That should be far enough to get out of vision of those enemies. And then even though we're taking this shot, I don't think anything's going to be able to get in range here to see them. And turn. I'm trying to wait for this. Oh, that's a chain gun truck. This is the laser truck. So I'm trying to wait for the laser truck to act before I move my tank. We'll just have our jump infantry move forwards here. There is this rocket truck still, but it doesn't have vision because it's fleeing and on fire and everything. All right, laser truck moved, so let's move forwards to here. That just doesn't get us in range of anything useful. I could move to here. Then we're out of range of these commandos, in range to fire our chain gun at them. So let's just go ahead and do that. We'll get them suppressed. Then I'll move forwards one more tile. I need to take down this laser truck before the next turn. That's going to be our big priority at this point. This chain gun truck can move forwards and it can take shots at our heavy APC, but the APC is invincible to its attacks. Not having Carta in the vehicle is definitely not ideal. And we can't get her in range for her rocket. So maybe the play last turn where I did all that movement was a little bit suboptimal. Yes, we got to damage the pirate rocket truck, which is good, but I don't know that we needed to invest so much in doing that. Let's end turn and wait for the pirates to go. All right. So this laser truck, I can now EMP. These boarding commandos could potentially take shots against Darby, but we're going to EMP and then just back off away from them so they don't have any chance to attack her. Let's back up one and see if they don't have vision. So you can see they know that this squad exists because we fired an EMP this round. But we're just going to back off to a position where they can't get in range to attack her. Also, the rocket truck died to the fire. So the chain gun is going to come over here, and it's going to try to get in range to attack Darby, which is fine. Oh, there is an HMG truck over here, which I don't think is going to be able to do any damage, but that I did move maybe one tile too far, so that was sloppy. Obviously, you want to be pretty careful about your movement and positioning. You do need to avoid putting your units in danger, and I did put them in danger there. I could do suppressive fire here. I could also just take down this laser truck. Let's just do that. These guys fleeing, and having done that, Darby is no longer visible to the enemies. She's now concealed, so the HMG truck can no longer attack, because we got these guys fleeing. So I did put her in very slight risk, but we were able to prevent anything bad from happening. I will move up here. I know there's a chain gun truck over here. The boarding commandos can take some machine gun shots at our truck if they want, but it looks like they're not even bothering, which is pretty funny. We get 3 shots here at them with Pike, so we'll definitely take that just to build up his accuracy a little bit. And actually do pretty decent damage to the commandos. HMG truck moves forward just a little bit, and then I can have Carta run up to here and still have actions to do something. So we could take shots at the boarding commandos, or I could just have her get in the truck and be in a better position for next turn. Let's just do that instead. Alright, so here's a heavy machine gun truck. Pike still not visible to the enemies, but our tank is, and it worked out really well that I put Carta in the tank instead of leaving her outside of it, because the heavy machine gun truck could have taken her down if I hadn't done that. I do want to kill these enemies here. It's worth good loot. We don't need to evacuate right away. We still have 7 rounds, and we can still get the secondary objective. I'm also not worried about the secondary objective, pretty much at all. I could move to here and shoot these guys down with the jump pack. That seems pretty good. They're actually still not visible to this machine gun truck, which is interesting. I thought that I was putting them in vision range here. Because of that, I'm not going to move them forwards at all. We'll just have them end turn. Alright, so the heavy machine gun truck and the chain gun truck are both present. We can laser one of them. I guess I'll laser the machine gun truck. That's the more dangerous of the two by far, of course. This will overheat our laser, so we won't be able to use it again next turn. That's fine. Autoloader jammed. That's not the best result we could have gotten, but it's fine. I'm also going to move over to here. The truck just backing away from us. That's really funny. So Carta can pop out here and take rocket shots at that chain gun truck, which is, in fact, exactly what we'll do. Took it down instantly. We're not in range. I could walk forwards, but we still wouldn't be able to take our attack. I also don't want to shoot at the boarding commandos because we're within range of being counterattacked, so back into the APC it is. And then Pike. I could take this shot. That would reveal his location, though, and the heavy machine gun truck could flank around and attack him. So let's actually get out of crouch mode, and then we're just going to have Pike back off to here, just to stay completely safe. This squad is not armored at all, so we don't want to put them in a position where they're getting attacked even a little bit. I could jump forwards and then take an EMP shot at the truck. And there might be other enemies in the area, though, so I don't really want to do that. Let's have Darby move up and scout, at least, first. So we'll move to here. Still got 40 AP. Keep moving. There's still some tiles where enemies could be hidden behind here, but it is a lot safer to move forwards now. So let's go ahead and have this jump go off. We'll stay behind cover, and we should be able to EMP the truck still. Doing some decent damage. So the truck is EMP'd. We know there's a heavy machine gun truck down there, but I'll wait until it comes into range, then we can have Carta take it out. These guys will get a counterattack, but it won't do anything to our heavy armor, so let's just take them down now. Stop letting them have vision of what the enemies are doing. Then we'll move forwards. Pike is going to take advantage of our little shipping crate path here and run forwards as well. We'll have Lim just use the EMP rifle a bunch. And step forwards to here. EMP rifle, of course, is going to go through this truck's extremely heavy armor, so it's what we want to use mostly against it. I'll pop Carta out. It looks like the other heavy machine gun truck has just retreated completely. It's like somewhere over here now. So we'll just... I guess I can do one more tile of movement and then still get back in. The nice thing here, and this is why I think the mobile infantry perk is so good, is not only do we get to just pop in and out of the vehicle over and over again, we also just get extra tiles of movement, because moving in and out of the vehicle only costs 5 AP. So it becomes much more efficient to move around with your mobile infantry troops as well. You can have them dance back and forth to get vision, or attack and then back off. Lots of things you can do here. And then we'll just use another EMP shot. At this point, we might want to start trying to chew through its armor. It's disabled completely, and it doesn't look like there's any other enemies in the area. So we'll just use our rapid-fire attacks and start taking it down. Then we'll step forwards towards the evac zone. Okay, here's the heavy machine gun truck.
Sir. Yeah.
How are we on range to get to that? Not great. What I can do here is give Bog some extra AP, and then we'll, I think, just leave Pike here. I guess I might as well take this shot. Does give them vision, but chips away at its armor a little bit.
Deflected.
And then with the extra AP, we can hopefully get in range to take our laser shot from here. Overheats the laser again. Looks like we actually missed. Pretty unlucky there, but that's okay. We'll have Carta pop out and do a rocket attack, which we can't quite reach. So the question is, how much risk am I willing to accept to get a rocket attack on this truck? We could move her to here, and then she would still have 2 more rockets next turn before it gets to act. I don't believe any other enemies should be able to get to this area, so we should be able to take this thing down. All right, well, the one rocket knocked it down pretty well. Let's go ahead and use our rapid fire attack to chip away at this thing's armor and take it out as well.
Hostile neutralized.
And then I think that should be pretty much all of the enemies, so let's have Carta get back in the truck. And everybody's going to start making their way to the exit. Very clean fight for us. I do want to avoid sending Pike like too far into this area because I might reveal some enemies. We'll have Darby go scout.
Oscar Mike.
Just to make sure there's no surprises waiting for us in the evac zone. Lim as well can move to like here. And then wait a turn. We'll have Pike cut in to the side, like so. Not visible to anything, so we can just move. I'm okay just having the truck take its full movement here, because if anything was here, we still have the mobile infantry piece inside that can just pop out and kill it. Send Darby into the evac zone just to get good vision of everything. Punch down and turn. Similarly, we'll have Lim go into the evac zone and turn. And we should get there exactly at the 16 round mark. Not a high priority. I really don't pay attention to the turn timer secondary objectives. But nice little bonus here for a perfect mission where we took essentially 0 damage, and turn. Enemies only got to fire a couple shots even.
All done, Major. We are RTB.
And with everything in the evac zone, off we go. So you can see full greens. We got great loot from this as well, because we went out of our way to take down a lot of the enemy units, and this gives us a lot of good trade value for the black market. So I would say a basically perfectly successful mission. I did the whole outro and realized I wasn't actually showing the mission success screen, so we'll cut that bit and get back into it. And you can see here Lim did 300 damage to HP, 800 to armor, killed 4 enemy units. Carta took down 2 tanks, pretty good damage. Pike, less damage, got a lot of shots though, so should have gained some decent stats and is here as a support piece anyways. Darby, as always, going absolutely berserk with 12 enemy kills. And Bog, not as good as Rewa with fewer action points, but still took down a respectable 4 enemies and did very well. So, thanks for watching, my friends. I hope that you enjoyed this look at a early game and mid-game mission in Menace. Definitely let me know if you want to see more of this. I have really enjoyed this game so far, so if it's something you want to see more of, let me know in the comments. And of course, if you've enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for potentially more Menace and other strategy game analysis. Cheers, folks. I'll catch you next time.